Here we go for a very special edition of The Underground. It is Ned catching up with John Cooper of Skillet. John, how are you going, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. It's good to be chatting with you. I like all of your paraphernalia behind you there. I love all that stuff, man.
All my collectibles and toys and whatnot. Thank you for pointing that out, man. Yes, that's been a lifelong hobby, and it's expensive, but I appreciate that, man.
You know what? I have the same hobby. I collect all that stuff too. There's something nostalgic about it, and sometimes it's funny because you think, how many things in my life have I loved ever since I was a kid? So your whole life, it's not really that many things. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's cool. Collect it.
Yeah, and on that sort of subject, I guess, John, do you find too, like, you still are into the same things you were into as a kid and you just go the whole way through? Like, I was massive on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and still collecting them now.
Yeah, it's funny because music and movies and all that, it's all kind of the same. It's like you kind of tend to like what you grew up with, or maybe a newer version, but as long as it has that nostalgic feel, and I think that's where the Marvel films sort of ended up really striking gold, because they had a nostalgic but new like by the time they came out with Ragnarok, do you remember Ragnarok was very like throwback 80s, that really brought it really all in, and then it was just gold,
Yeah, no, very much agree, and very much off the cuff here. I just want to know why you're talking about that sort of thing, because I didn't know you were into it. What is your most prized sort of possession? What's your favorite sort of collectible you have, John?
I have a life-size Han Solo in carbonite.
Nice.
Yeah,
Star Wars guy.
it's pretty good. It lights up. It's got the little blinking lights on the side, where Boba Fett makes sure that he's not dead or whatever. It's just really cool.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Now, you guys are just a couple of weeks from getting back out here to Australia. How excited are you to get back out here, John?
Oh, yeah, we're so excited. I mean, I can't wait. I mean, every month, you look on your sales reports, your streaming reports, so you can see where it is that people are listening. And for the last, I don't know how many years, 3-4 years, I began going, look at these cities. It's like two of our biggest cities in the world are in Australia. This is just so bizarre to me. And so the people are excited, and we're excited to get back down and have some fun, man.
Yeah, can't wait to have you here. And I think Perth is already sold out and a bunch are on the way as well. That's how excited people are out here to see you.
Oh, it's so cool, man. We do tons of interviews. So whenever we have full band interviews, people often say, what's the best show you ever played? Where's your favorite place you ever played? And my wife, Corey, who plays guitar in the band, she, for 5 or 6 years, she's been saying, like 2000, I think it was 2011, I believe it was, when we did our first like real tour in Australia. She's like, 2011, those Australia shows were just off the chain. Nice. I think we just weren't expecting that many people. It was just like all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, when did everybody in Australia know who Skillet was, and the excitement of the play? It was just, it was awesome. It was a legend.
Yeah, that is so cool right there. And well, you have been out here a couple of times, John. Is there any sort of must things you have to do when you get out here?
Well, I just love the food. I don't know if that's lame. It's supposed to be something better than that. I'm like, just the food, really. Well, the food's just really good. I mean, I suppose it's because you're in such a completely different hemisphere. When I first came to Australia, most people don't really know much about the world or geography, and I'm like most people. And I was like, I guess I didn't really put it together that it was so close to Asia and stuff like that. And so there was the amount of different kinds of it, very eclectic, and all the food was so fresh, and that's much fresher than we would have here in terms of Asian food and seafood and sushi and things like that.
Oh, there you go. That's crazy. Yeah. All right, man. Well, I wanted to switch things up because you not only a musician, you're a bit of a jack of all trades. You've written a book. You've got a podcast. Can you tell us about some of these things, man? The book Wimpy, Weak and Woke is out now. Can you let us know about that one?
Yeah, I do a lot of things. Well, as we talked about, I have a lot of interests. Comics. Yeah. People are probably listening like, I wanted to hear about music. Why are they talking about Marvel comics and horror film paraphernalia? But Yeah, I think it's just a lot of interest, Yeah, I like philosophy quite a lot. I like political philosophy. I like theology, meaning like the study of God, or biblical theology, things like that. I just enjoy those things. I enjoy things that get me thinking about the meaning of life. Why are we here? How are you supposed to treat people? What is right and wrong? Because all those things kind of go together. When you understand what right and wrong is, then you better know how to treat other people, whether it's those that agree with you and those who disagree with you, And so I love that. I mean, that's part of my faith. I'm a Christian, and Jesus basically said, hey, this is a paraphrase of Jesus's words, by the way, but Jesus is like, to treat people to treat people nicely who treat you well is not really a big deal. Everybody does that. I tell you, you're supposed to love your enemies. You're supposed to pray for your enemies. That's a kind of a groundbreaking thing that I don't know, has been good for me in my life. So lots of stuff like that I really find pertinent to our daily lives. And I have 2 kids, in case people care about that. My kids are now little adults. My daughter is actually getting married here right when I get back from Australia. Our daughter is getting married, and so she's 21. My son is 18. And so I think when you have kids, you start asking those questions more, like, all right, what kind of world are my kids growing up in? And what kind of world do I want to leave for their grandkids? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I love that right there. And interesting that you touched on the Christianity as well, because I did want to ask about that. How do you think that's affected your career, John? I've loved how you've always sort of stuck to your guns and gone through it. Do you think it's affected your career in a positive way, or do you think that the industry sort of looked down on you for it, or what do you think there?
Oh, yeah. I wish I had an hour to answer that so I don't misrepresent myself. I would just say this. Look, I think a couple things. Anytime you stand up for something that you believe, you have to know that somebody's going to be annoyed. I mean, no matter what position it is, somebody's going to go, I don't like that, and I'm not listening. At the same time, when you stand up for something you believe, there will often be people that say, I dig that. Even if they don't agree with you, they'll be like, I like that he's standing up for that, and I think that's cool. I got respect for that. And I just think it's a mixed bag. And I've always refused to see myself as any sort of victim. I am not a victim. I'm an overcomer, and I am more than a conqueror. So I don't do the victim thing ever. Certainly there have been some people in the industry that would be like, yeah, I'm not playing their music because of that. Yeah. And for me, I've just said, well, then don't play it, because I'm not going to change who I am to get your approval. Are you kidding me? That's so anti-rock and roll. That's so anti-rock and roll to change who you are. And so I would say in the long run, I think most people that love Skillet, I think they like that we're authentic. Whether they agree with me or not, whether they're religious or not, I think they pick up on the fact that Skillet is authentic and that we're not trying to impress anybody. We're just being ourselves. And I think these days, I mean, the world has become so tolerant in I think a good way. I think the world is so tolerant in general that the bulk of people will be like, it's fine with me.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like there's a whole bunch, and like POD have been doing the same thing for years, and then Head from Korn come out as a Christian. I think it's a fantastic thing, John, there, and really admirable that you've just always been like the entire way, which is fantastic.
Oh, that's kind. Thank you so much. Kind of you to say.
No worries at all, man. Switching things up, I wanted to talk about Legendary popping up on the WWE. Are you a WWE fan?
Yeah, in fact, that's so funny. I almost said it when we were talking earlier, and I was like, well, like music and movies are nostalgic. And I was thinking, I promise I'm not lying, I was thinking it's kind of like WWE. Most people that love WWE as adults love it because they grew up with it. And
exactly.
And I was thinking of things I've loved ever since I was a kid. I was fascinated with Randy the Macho Man was like, it just blew my mind as a kid. I'm like, who? Because he's kind of like a comic book character, if you think of it.
He really is.
Wrestling and superheroes really aren't that different, Yeah. So, yeah, I love that stuff. So WWE has been very good to us. They were the first people to get behind our song Monster, which was back in 2009. I mean, that's a long time ago. But at the time, we really were struggling to get people to believe in the band. And it's funny now, it's one of those kind of things, if you could see the future, it would always give you more courage and more hope, because you know things are going to work out. But when you're in that moment, you don't always see that, right? And so I can remember when it looked like Monster was just not going to hit. And I was thinking, this song is so catchy. I can't believe it. I remember there was a specific radio station that wouldn't play the song, and we kept asking, why won't you play it? And they finally came back. It had been released for about 8 months. So obviously, you know, that's a long time. 8 months, they still wouldn't play the song. They came back and they said, all right, here's why we won't play the song. This song sounds like 3 Days Grace if they couldn't play their instruments. Oh. And it was such a good burn. I started laughing. I was like, it's all right. You know what? Kudos. That's a pretty good burn. It's ridiculous, but it's pretty funny. So here we are. You know, it's I think it's in 5 million singles. You know, 5 million singles later. I'd like to see that guy again and make fun of him a little bit.
Yeah, so would I. That's insane.
Yeah, man, pretty good burn, but he was wrong. So you know, when you're in it. Oh, I'm sorry. The reason I got off on a trail. The reason I was saying that is because WWE stepped up to the plate and they were like, we love this song Monster. And they made it as their theme song for Hell in a Cell on Raw one season. And after that, we started getting NFL, and then stations started playing it. It became a big hit, but it took a good 9 months before that song really entered the top 5. So it was a long one, but we got there, baby.
Well, on that topic, John, what was the WWE, like, it was amazing having your music pop on that, but do you have a favorite? Like, is there any movies or anything that your music's popped up on that you're like, man, that is so cool?
Oh, movies?
Yeah, or just anything.
The only real thing that we did, which was absolutely amazing, I mean, I wish it had been even more, was that our song Awaken Alive was on the soundtrack for Transformers, on the I think it was the 3rd Transformers film.
Yeah, right.
But it wasn't in the film, you know, so don't go and watch the film and then say I'm lying. It was on the thing, and I wish it had been in the film, but it was also a really cool story. I don't know if people enjoy hearing these stories. I'm sorry if they're boring, but like they're good for people to begin to think that when you have, I hate to sound cheesy, but when you have a dream or you have something you're going for that you just believe is right, I'm going for this, you're going to be told no so many times. And sometimes you just got to stick to it, man. Don't give up. And Skillet is that kind of a story. I remember when they said, hey, there's a slot for Transformers. Your music doesn't really fit the bill, but so-and-so knew so-and-so who's got you in. And they said, you can do it. You just need to like record a different kind of a song or record Awaken Alive, but make it sound really different.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't want to. I don't like what they're trying to make me sound like. It's just not us. Meaning I like those bands, but Skillet doesn't sound good like as doing that. And, you know, at the time there were some bands hitting, who's that? Remember that song Radioactive?
Oh, yeah,
it was a great song. And it was all like indie and alt, and we just couldn't do it. And in the end I said, hey, it's either the album version or we'll just pass, you know, and they ended up doing the album version. And that really propelled it to becoming a hit song when nobody said it was going to be, because of that played a part in that. So sometimes you just got to stick to it. 9 times out of 10, they would have said, fine, get lost. But that one time they stuck to it. But that was a pretty cool look.
Yeah, man. Very, very cool. And I don't find those stories boring at all. I wanted to bring it up. I love talking about this sort of stuff. And this one really interests me too. I want to know this, man. If you weren't in music, what do you think you'd be doing, John?
You know, I probably would be some sort of youth worker. And what I mean by that would be either somebody that maybe works in a church and helps young. When I say young people, I'm sorry, I'm talking about more like teenagers. 13 to 18, or maybe an after-school program. You know what I mean? Like kids that don't have anywhere to go to after school. Maybe we have a place where they come and play basketball or soccer, and maybe maybe when they're doing that, we get to help train them in, virtues or something. You teach the virtues of loyalty and fidelity and honor and all these kind of things. And then you play sports together, because sports are really good for young people, getting camaraderie, and you learn how to play as a team and not to always think it's all about you all the time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these kids just don't have anywhere to go, and they don't have any hope. They don't have mentors in their lives. Some of them don't have fathers or mothers or whatever. So that's probably a long answer, but I have a real passion for that age group, and for especially for people who feel invisible and are struggling with mental health, maybe have suicidal thoughts. Man, it'd be really cool to be a worker at one of those things and be an ear, an ear to hear what they're going through.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic. I think one thing that the pandemic taught me, John, was like all of the jobs and like the industry we're involved in. Like I was made redundant from my radio job, that sort of thing. It made me realize there's nothing more important than helping people, and that's the sort of industry that you want to be in, and to help is a fantastic thing. So that answer doesn't surprise me at all for you.
That's cool. Wow, that's a great outlook you have there. Love it.
Yeah, no, nice, John. Well, very much appreciate you taking time out. Before I let you go, is there anything else that we need to know? You've got the Australian tour coming up. Is there anything, what's up next for Skillet?
Oh, man. Well, I can't wait to see the fans. I'm so excited. It's been too long. I think the pandemic kind of like messed up my mojo. We were getting in our mojo. We're going here, and then we'll come back in a couple of years, and then it threw everything off. Can't wait to come back and see the fans. So everybody come out and have a good time. We are working on new music. So Lord willing, we'll be releasing music this year, and don't have that planned out yet, but we do have it recorded. So the music is recorded. Not sure about the plans yet. And that's probably all that's going on with us. Thanks to all the fans for listening.
Oh, that's fantastic right there. Catch Skillet in Australia, April 4 in Sydney at the Metro Theatre, Brisbane on the 5th at Edens Hill, the 7th in Melbourne at the Northcote Theatre. I believe someone's birthday is April 7 as well, John.
I can't wait to share my birthday with you guys, man. Come on. Australian people are so cool and have such a good sense of humor. Everybody's like dry and sarcastic, So it's going to be a great place to have my birthday. Let's do it.
Yeah, my buddy Fitzy loves you guys. He said you got to say something about his birthday being then, so that's going to be awesome. Big shout out to him. April 8 in Adelaide at Hindley Street Music Hall, and wrapping things up in the 10th at Perth Astor Theatre. Get your tickets through metropolistouring.com, metropolistouring.com, I should say. John, thank you so much for taking time out. Really appreciate it.
Hey, you got it. Great to chat with you, brother.